You think you are being heard, but you are actually being measured. Every time you confess a late-night fear or share a childhood wound, you aren't building a bond. You are handing over the blueprints to your own psychological vault. They smile because they've finally found the crack in your foundation, the one you don't even know exists yet. If you keep talking, there won't be anything left of you to defend. The question isn't whether they will use it against you, but why you have spent so much time helping them sharpen the blade. You aren't being loved, you're being mapped. It starts in the quietest moments. A shared coffee, a long drive, a glass of wine at 2:00 a.m. There is a specific kind of silence that invites you to fill it, a vacuum that pulls the truth from your throat before you've had the chance to vet it. You look across the table and you see a mirror, or what you believe is a mirror. They nod, they lean in. They offer those small, encouraging murmurs that act as a permission slip for your soul to leak out. But look closer at the eyes. They aren't reflecting your warmth, they are absorbing it. While you are feeling the relief of being seen, they are performing a cold, clinical audit of your psyche. They are taking notes on the things that make your voice tremble. They are recording the way your eyes shift when you talk about your father, or the specific pitch of your laughter when you're trying to hide a deep-seated insecurity. To you, this is intimacy. To them, this is the acquisition of leverage. You have been conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a bridge. In a healthy world, perhaps it is. But in the world you are currently inhabiting, vulnerability is a weakness in the armor. They are not listening to understand your pain. They are listening to locate the pressure points. They want to know exactly where to press when the time comes to make you move. They are patient. They are the ultimate long-term investors in your eventual collapse. They don't need to strike today. They are content to sit in the front row of your life, clapping the loudest, while they silently calculate the exact weight of the straw that will eventually break your back. Notice how they never offer their own depths in return. They give you fragments, curated, polished stories of their own struggles that feel authentic but lack any real blood. It is a psychological bribe. They give you a pebble of their truth so that you will hand over the gold mine of yours, and you do. You hand it over with a smile, grateful for the exchange, never realizing that you are the only one who has actually lost anything. The transition is so subtle you might mistake it for your own growth. It begins with the helpful observations. Now that they have the map of your weaknesses, they begin to redraw the boundaries of your reality. It's never a frontal assault. That would be too obvious, too easy to fight. Instead, it is a soft erosion. A slow tide that pulls the sand from beneath your feet while you're busy looking at the horizon. They start using your own words against you, but they wrap them in the velvet of concern. They remind you of that insecurity you confessed 6 months ago, bringing it up just as you're about to take a risk. Are you sure you're ready for this? They ask, their voice dripping with a simulated empathy that tastes like copper. I only say it because I know how much you struggle with rejection. In that moment, they aren't supporting you. They are reminding you that you are broken. They are taking the knife you gave them during that 2:00 a.m. confession and giving it a gentle twist, just to see if the wound is still tender. And because you trust the smile, you don't see the blade. You see a friend protecting you from yourself. You start to rely on their vision of you because yours is becoming increasingly blurred by the fog they are pumping into the room. The tension begins to hum in your bones. You feel a vague, nameless anxiety whenever you are around them, a biological alarm system trying to tell you that you are in the presence of a predator. But your mind dismisses it. You tell yourself you're being paranoid. You tell yourself that someone who knows you this well couldn't possibly mean you harm. This is the trap of the intimate enemy. The more they know, the more power they have to convince you that your instincts are lying to you. You begin to self-censor, not because you've stopped trusting them, but because you've started to fear the version of yourself that they reflect back to you. You are becoming smaller. Your world is shrinking to the size of their approval. Every decision you make is now filtered through the invisible sieve of their potential judgment. They have successfully colonized your mind, and they did it without ever raising their voice. The floor doesn't drop away all at once. It happens in sections. You wake up one day and realize that the person you were before this connection is gone. You are a collection of anxieties and hesitations, a house built on stilts over a rising sea. The weaknesses they so carefully studied are no longer just parts of you. They have become the whole of you. This is the phase of the irreversible realization. You look at them across the same coffee table, and for a split second, the mask doesn't slip, it dissolves. You see the boredom in their eyes when you're happy. You see the spark of genuine interest only when you are suffering. You realize that your pain is their currency. It is the fuel that keeps their sense of superiority running. They don't want you to fail completely. That would end the game. They want you in a state of perpetual managed crisis. They want you just broken enough to need them, but not so broken that you have nothing left to take. The collapse is internal because it's the death of a delusion. You realize that the safe harbor you thought you found was actually the eye of the storm. Every secret you shared is now a tether, a way for them to pull you back whenever you try to drift toward independence. You feel a profound sense of nakedness. It's a cold, clinical exposure. You are standing in a room full of people, but you are the only one who is truly visible, stripped bare by the person who claimed to be your clothes. You start to replay every conversation. You see the patterns now, the way they steered you away from people who actually cared for you, the way they subtly undermined your successes, the way they made themselves the only honest voice in your life. The architecture of your undoing is magnificent in its complexity. It is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. And the most disturbing part, the part that keeps you awake at night, is the realization that you were a willing participant. You carried the bricks, you mixed the mortar. You gave them the tools and asked them to build something beautiful. There is no dramatic climax. There is no cinematic confrontation where you scream your truth and they shrink away in shame. That isn't how this ends. Life is much quieter and much heavier than that. The ending is simply the weight of knowing. You are now aware of the game, but the game has already changed the landscape of your life. You can walk away, but you carry the map they drew of you in your pocket. You can close the door, but you can still hear the echo of their concerns in the back of your mind. The realization is irreversible because once you see the predator behind the smile, you can never unsee it. You will look at every smile from now on with a shadow of suspicion. You will weigh every word. You will guard your silence like a sanctuary. This isn't about bitterness, it's about the loss of innocence. You have learned that the most dangerous people in your life aren't the ones who scream at you or the ones who hate you openly. The most dangerous people are the ones who sit with you in the dark and wait for you to tell them exactly where it hurts. They are the ones who study your weaknesses not to help you overcome them, but to ensure they have a place to stay. You stand at the edge of this new understanding, looking back at the wreckage of what you thought was a friendship, a romance, a bond. It is a lonely place to be. But there is a strange, cold clarity in the ruins. You are finally seeing the world as it is, not as you wished it to be. The door is left slightly open. You can choose to stay in the wreckage, trying to fix a foundation that was never meant to hold you. Or you can walk out into the cold, hard air of your own autonomy. But as you leave, remember the lesson written in the dust. Not everyone who hears you is listening, and not everyone who smiles is a friend. Some people are just waiting for the right moment to show you exactly how well they've studied you. The next time someone asks you to open up, you will hesitate. And in that hesitation, you will find the only real protection you've ever had. The smile is still there, across the room, across the table, across the screen. It hasn't changed, but you have. And that is the only thing that matters now.